Well, hello students. Welcome to my intro to video editing via Premiere Pro. Okay, so what I'm going to take you through is just the very beginnings of how to set up your system and how to edit video. Okay, first thing, you're going to record your media on a drive like this, either in an ENG camera or in your DSLR. This is to record the video and then copy the video either onto your hard drive on your computer or an external hard drive. Please do not edit raw video off your memory card. Never, never, never edit on this. Never edit video on a flash drive. These are for copying video. These are for moving video from one place to another, but they are simply not fast enough to handle video editing with Premiere. So Premiere interacts with the drive or whatever video constantly over and over. And these flash drives or memory sticks are just not fast enough. So don't edit that way, okay? All right, so now the first thing that I want you to understand about editing is how to set up your computer, okay? So this is my external hard drive. It's called 2 terabyte Omega drive. I'm just gonna go ahead and create a new folder right here. Okay, and I'm going to call this folder Montano. Okay, I've created a new folder and I've called it Montano. This is my master folder on my computer. Now, I don't care if you're editing on a PC or you're editing on a Mac. Create a master video editing folder, and I've just created one called Montano. Now, in that folder, I'm going to create 4 new folders. So I'm going to create a folder called Projects. I'm going to create a folder called Media. I'm going to create a folder called, oops, I created the wrong spot, Previews. I'm just going to drag that over to over there. So Media, Projects, Previews, and another folder called Output. Output, okay? So I have my Montano folder, and then I have a Media folder, an Output folder, a Previews folder, and a Projects folder. And then I have to start with some media first. So in this Media folder, I am going to create another folder. Now, I do everything by a hierarchy of dates. So today is March 26th. I'm going to create a new folder in my media folder, and I'm going to call it 03-26-20 litter box. And the reason I'm calling it litter box is that's the video, raw video that was shot from maybe a thumb drive or maybe a memory stick, and I am copying it from my memory stick or thumb drive. If you buy an external hard drive right now, you're going to save yourself a lot of headache. This is a 4 terabyte external hard drive. I have 10 years of home movies and 10 years of images and many projects from my previous classes, and this thing is only half full. I recommend at least a 500 gigabyte hard drive. $30, $40 right now, okay? They're very cheap to find a hard drive, but you're gonna save yourself a ton of time and a ton of work if you start right now with having an external hard drive. I'm going to preach this over and over until I get all of you to understand the importance of an external hard drive. Okay, so all of my video is now in my media folder in a folder specifically labeled 032620 litter box. Okay, so now we've got that stuff. When you first launch Adobe Premiere Pro, one of the first things that you're going to do is launch a new project. If you do what I'm going to tell you to do right now, you only have to do this once. And if you use an external hard drive, it will save you a lot of time. The first thing that you're going to do is launch a new project. And when you launch a new project, the first window you get up is the new project window. At the very top, it says name Untitled. Don't leave this untitled at all. So again, my naming conventions, I'm going to go 032620 litter box. So the project file is the exact same as the bin or folder I created with all my raw clips. Now below that is something called location. I want Adobe Premiere Pro to save all of my project files in a certain location, no matter what. So now I'm going to navigate from my 2 terabyte hard drive to my Montano folder, to my projects folder, to my projects folder. So the files are going to be saved right here, and then I hit choose. All of this stuff right here, the video, render, playback, video, audio, capture, don't worry about that stuff. Just leave that stuff at the default. The next thing I want you to do is do the scratch discs. So the first one is captured video, and the second one is captured audio. 99.9% of the time in your life, you're going to capture video on a memory card and then import it or copy it on your computer. So captured video and captured audio is basically saying like you hooked up some camera and imported video that way. Don't worry about those. You don't really capture video in the spirit of how these things are set up. This is just kind of a holdover from a different time. But the next one is very important. It's the video and audio previews folders. I want you to make sure these are a certain path. Now, if you click the browse, do you notice that the last thing we did is navigate the project files to the project folder? So it will remember the last thing you do. So I'm going to go to my Montano folder, and guess what? We're going to navigate these to the preview folder and hit choose. And I want you to do that for both the video previews and the audio previews. And then look, it navigated the last thing and hit choose. Now, I know you don't understand what audio previews and video previews files are. Basically, any render files or any files that Adobe Premiere Pro has to generate to have you edit, it builds these files. Now, if you leave the default setup when you installed Adobe Premiere on your machine, these folders are going to go into this folder called Adobe 13.0 and then this and this, and they're going to get buried in their computer. And over time, this folder is going to just build and build and build, and you're going to run out of space in your computer. And you're like, I don't understand. I've eliminated everything on my computer. Something's happening. And it's because you forgot about these files. So if you have these files navigated to a specific folder, when it's time, you can clean up that folder. The next one is Project Autosave. I want you to navigate that to the projects file, And then don't worry about CC downloads, and don't worry about the motion graphics templates. Those aren't important right now. And then if all that's okay, hit OK. So now I've launched Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay. At the very top of Adobe Premiere, there are these window settings. The first one is learning. The second one is assembly. The third one is editing. Make sure that you are on the editing window setup. Okay, you can do it here, or you can go to Windows, Workspace, and Editing. and just make sure that we have all the same setup, okay? So before we start editing, we need to import our video. Down here, you'll see it says project, and then it says 0326 litterbox. That is the project that we saved, okay? If I double click right here, it says import media to start. I double click, and I will navigate to my Montano folder, and I want to navigate to the media folder and the litterbox folder. Now, if I double click on the litterbox folder, it will bring in the folder and all of the video in the folder. If I just highlight all of the video, then it will bring in the video and not the folder. So what I want you to do for now is just highlight all of your video and hit import. Okay, it's imported all of my video into the project panel. Now, the video is not actually imported, right? It's just pointer information. What I want you to understand is that when you import video into Premiere Pro, you're not actually importing the video. What you're importing is pointer information. So Premiere Pro understands that this raw video is in a certain folder, but it's not actually imported into the program. It's just there with pointer information, okay? Now in the project panel is all of your video. Now I'm going to use this key called the tilde key, which is the key to the left of your number 1 on a Mac keyboard. And when I hit tilde, it will bring up that panel full screen. And what we see, the name of all of our clips and the frame rate, so all of this video was shot at 29.97 frames per second. The media start, the media end columns are not important right now. Now I edit in what's called list view. So I can see the names of the shots, how I name them. Now I know a lot of students like to do the icon view. So at the bottom of the screen, you can toggle between list view and icon view or thumbnail view. And you can scrub. All you have to do is hold your mouse over the shot and you can scrub back and forth in each shot so that you can see the action in each shot. All right, so you can see all of the shots have numbers, and these are in the order of the shots that were taken when the raw video was produced. You can also see that I have an acronym, MS, TS. You can also see that I can have that. You can also see that I label the shots like wide shot and medium shot and tight shot. So that's WS, TS, and TM. So you can see how I can name these shots, and it helps me because I'm a list kind of view person. You can see I've named the shots, and I use WS and MS for, you know, medium shot, tight shot, and wide shot. And that helps me to understand what shot framing is on all of the shots that I'm going to edit with. Okay, so I want you to double click on the first shot that you're going to edit with. In this case, mine is the 01 shot in the kitchen. So I'm going to double click, and then it's going to go into the source monitor. So now I have my clip in the source monitor, and at the bottom of the source monitor I have some navigation tools. So I can play with the play button that's right in the center, okay? So I can play the clip. I also like to use keyboard shortcuts. So I'm a big fan of using the keyboard shortcuts. The L key is play a clip forward. The J key is play a clip backwards. So I can toggle my clip by, I can I can use the J, K, L keys to scrub through my video. So now I want to mark an endpoint. So that's the first point that I want to set so that I can start my edit. So I can grab the upside down guitar pick. It's also called the Playhead, but it looks like an upside down guitar pick. Do you see the numbers moving up and down on the far left? The time code relative to where the Playhead is in the source monitor. So as you can see, the numbers go up as the Playhead goes. The numbers on the far right is the duration of the clip. So this clip is 13 seconds and 13 frames long. Time code from the far right is frames, seconds, minutes, hours. So now I'm going to set my endpoint, and there are multiple ways to set an endpoint. So I can scrub my Playhead back and forth. I can also use the JKL keys, so you can mark it in by simply clicking this button right here, or you can right click in the source panel and you can mark it in that way, or the I key. The I key. Now I have my fingers on the JKL keys, then I will scrub and find where I want to make my out. I'm going to make my out point right when she starts to bring the broom back, okay? And again, you can use the little key, or you can right click and mark it out. Of course, I am going to use the O button. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to drag the first clip that you've selected to this new item icon. So the new item icon is the icon to the left of the trash can. And so when you drag your clip from your source monitor to the new item icon, so basically you're setting your sequence settings based on the camera's codec that you shot your video with. We'll get into codecs a little bit later, but let's just say you're making it easier for you and Premiere to process the video. So the next thing is to make sure we're labeling our sequence. All right, so do you see how this little icon is a little different? So you see the sequence icon is 3 horizontal lines with a vertical line. That's the sequence icon, and that's a different icon than the video media icon. So I always label my sequences, so I will click twice. The first thing I do is I hit the space bar, and then I type SEQ, and then I'm going to title this litter box, okay? The reason why I use a space as the first icon is space is before any letter or before any number. So if I want to label everything in alphabetical order and I hit this up arrow key, the first thing in the top of my project panel is my sequence. So it's easy to find. And you see my SEQ litter box label is now the label of my sequence. This is a timeline. This is where I build all of my clips. And this is where I make my cuts. So the basics of all video editing is a cut. So I've made my first edit. So now I'm going to go to my medium shot of the broom, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to bring it into the source monitor. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the timeline, and I'm holding and dragging the playhead in the timeline just to see. All right. So the last part of this clip is our person starting to move the broom toward her. So I'm going to make sure my playhead is at the very end of this clip. And all I have to do is hit my down arrow key. So up arrow key will place your playhead at the previous edit. And we don't have any edits, we just have one clip. The down arrow key will place the playhead at the very back. So I've marked an in where the broom starts to sweep, and now I'm going to mark an out right there, okay? So I've marked an in and an out. I can adjust my mark in and mark out just by hovering, and you see that little icon? I can change where I marked it in. Let's say I want to have it there, and my mark out, again, I'm going to hover right above my mark out. I'm like, you know what? I want the mark out to be here, like about there. Oops. Mark out about there. Now I've changed it, so the duration of the in point and the out point is 4 seconds and 2 frames. Okay, so to get this second shot into the timeline, there are many ways to do this. And again, I want you to be comfortable on how you edit. So I can grab this from the source window and drag and drop, and I want to make sure that it's snapping to that first edit. So do you see in the program window it highlights that previous edit? That means you're snapped. That's one way. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo. Or I can hit this insert button, and wherever the playhead is in the timeline, wherever the playhead is, so again, I want to hit my down arrow key, and I hit the insert button, and that brings my edit down. So there's 2 ways to do this. Now, over here is the patch panel, okay? Do you see how V1 and A1 to the left of the locks is highlighted, and on the right of the locks, V1, A1, A2, and A3 are highlighted? On the left of the locks, V1 and A1 are relative to what is in the source panel. So Premiere Pro is telling me that there is 1 layer of video, obviously, and 1 audio channel of audio. If I change these, I can change where elements go. So I can say, you know what? I want the video to go to video layer 2. I'm going to turn on video layer 2, turn off video layer 1, and I want to say the audio for this track, I want to go to audio layer 2 and not audio layer 1. And then when I hit the insert key, the video goes on layer 2 and the audio goes on layer 2. It doesn't matter because the video is still going to be edited, okay? And if I drag and drop, I can certainly select video layer 2, but I can also select video layer 1. So for now, make sure all of your video is going to video layer 1 and all of your audio is going to audio layer 1, okay? Now you'll have multiple tracks of audio at some point, but for now, that's okay. All right, so again, I'm going to make my second edit. So here's my first edit, and I hit the home key. I hit the home key, and that immediately makes my playhead go back to the very beginning of my sequence. And there's my first 2 edits. Now, what I've done right here is I did what it's called a match action edit. So do you see how the broom is going towards her and continues the motion in this shot? I'll show you it again. That is a match action edit. I'm matching the action in this frame to the action in this frame. I'll show you it again. Match action edit, okay? And then for the next shot is the woman sweeping and then doing a little, all right? The next shot I'm going to use is the 03 medium shot mom, okay? And I'm going to find my in point. So I'm going to choose right here. And then the out point is when she goes, and then when she's done, I want my out point, okay? And then if I do not have the playhead at the end, I can just drag and drop Again, make sure that the last clip is highlighted in the program monitor, and that's my next edit. So here's my first edit, my next edit, and my last edit. And so I have a wide shot, a tight shot, and a medium shot. I've just performed a 3-shot sequence: a wide shot, a medium shot, and a tight shot. I started with a wide shot, then did a tight shot, then did a medium shot. A 3-shot sequence of the woman sweeping. 3-shot sequences are the key to your future. Please think about 3-shot sequences. So with that information, you have enough information to get started with your litter box project.